Hello, everybody. This is night number 3, I believe, of what is now the nightly Bay Area News Group Playoff Basketball Show. Only 4 games going on tonight in the Bay Area, at least our part of the Bay Area. 2 boys, 2 girls in the North Coast section Open Division playoffs. I guess we'll start in Richmond, where I was at Salesian, who was seeded number 6 actually, but they got to host number 3 Carondelet because they won the TCAL. And it was something of a theme tonight. Carondelet blew out Salesian. It was 83-55. Also, I'm here with Nathan Canilao.
What's up, everybody?
Hello. So, unlike a little rusty. Usually Darren Sabedra does this, but Darren is he's off tonight.
And so is Christian Babcock is also off tonight. So it's a dual cast here.
Look, we're doing our best impression of Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Okay, we're carrying this thing. So Carondelet, they handled Salesian. They ran a 2-2-1 full court trap, and Salesian's court is actually, I believe, it's 80 feet long, and it's very narrow. So that 2-2-1 felt more like a 4-4-1 on that court. Salesian they were smaller and they really couldn't break that press. And now they look ahead to San Ramon Valley, the reigning EBAL champs, and a team that has beaten Carondelet twice this year, 3 times last year, I believe, or maybe it was 2 times last year. But regardless, they're going to play again. And I guess, what do you think about that matchup? I feel like SRV has had their number over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I like SRV in that matchup. I think even a year like this with SRV, they're so young, but they're still as I would say even more elite than they were last season. So like you said, they've had Carondelet's number. I don't expect really that to change in this, but this is the playoffs and can't count Carondelet out. But yeah, good matchup. We'll see what happens. I think if Carondelet could hit some shots and put the pressure on SRV, I think maybe that changes the game a little bit. But SRV has handled that pretty well this season, and I expect no less.
Speaking of teams that were kind of surprising this year, Dublin, maybe people thought there might be a bit of a fall off now that Jalen Stokes transferred to Doherty Valley, but they keep rolling right along. They played Liberty tonight in a rematch of last year's epic. Was it NCS?
NCS Division I semifinals, and to add to that, literally a year ago today.
So, wow!
Yeah.
Now, from what I can tell, this tonight did not require a crazy buzzer beater, did it?
It did not. So I gave Liberty a lot of credit. They were actually the aggressor to start the game. They trailed in every quarter, but there were moments where they took the lead. They had 3 or 4 5-point leads. And they really did give Dublin a challenge. Dublin, with about 5 seconds left in the third, Dublin was up by just 5, and then Miles Pollard hits a buzzer-beating 3, and it just kind of snowballed. Fourth quarter, Dublin allows just 5 points. Really great performance. I mean, Dublin has really found its groove. They can defend when they're hitting shots. They're really tough to guard. You got 4 or 5 really strong starters and a couple guys off the bench that could really give you good minutes. So it was a good win for them. Liberty, though, I thought really played as good as they could. I mean, they couldn't quite hit shots, but again, they're playing against Dublin's defense, which is probably one of the better ones in the EBAL. So shout out to Dublin. They move on. They're going to play De La Salle. Joseph, what do you think? This is the 3rd time around for Dublin. De La has had their number both times, but and it's also for the 3rd time in Concord. You think Dublin gets it done?
If anyone's gonna pick against De La Salle, it's gonna be me. But I mean, De La Salle over the last week and a half, they've just played so well. I mean, they blew out Dublin, they blew out San Ramon Valley, and then they took down Doherty Valley pretty easily. Maybe if this was a month ago, I would pick Dublin, but I think De La Salle is they're just rolling right now. Alec Blair looks like he's a Player of the Year candidate, and David Balogun, I mean, he's 6'7", 6'6", and he plays bigger than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think it's going to be a tough challenge. Cam Anderson is going to be really key for Dublin in that matchup on Wednesday. 6'7" center, nice touch around the rim, physical big man. He's going to be a big centerpiece for them. I think I want to say the last game he didn't play last game. The first game, I believe he got in some foul trouble. So I think he'll be key. I give Dublin a good shot. But like you said, De La Salle is rolling right now, and we'll see. I mean, how do you think this is the 4 best open, at least on the boys side? Let's talk boys and girls. Do you think this is the 4 best open teams to make it to the semis?
Honestly, I mean, so far the chalk has held, right? It's been the 2 higher seeds won tonight, and yeah, I can't really argue with it. Although I will say, I was going into Piedmont girls. They went up to the North Bay, and they actually led 24-17 at halftime against Cardinal Newman. And I was like, oh, they might pull it off. And then Cardinal Newman storms back. They lead 45-35 with 3 minutes left. Cardinal Newman does. And then Piedmont or 49-35. And then Piedmont goes on like a 10-0 run in under 3 minutes to make it 49-45, but fills out just a little bit. And that's a long way of saying, yes, I do think that the 4 best teams in each boys and girls made it through. Let's stay on the EBAL though, and San Ramon Valley, they left no doubt who the better team was.
Yeah, they go out. I don't remember the final score. I got it here. So they beat California 77-49. I believe they had a 14-point lead at half, and it was just straight sailing for the Wolves. I mean, they just a couple notes here. Mason Thomas had only 11 points, but he reached 1,000 career point mark for his career at SRV. He's the 3rd player to do it since I believe 1995. So that's it. He joins, and the other 2 are Seamus Dealey, who graduated last year, and his teammate Luke Isaac. So
wow.
San Ramon has been historically a defensive juggernaut who will grind you out. But as you can see with Coach Brian Botine, the last couple of years, they've been scoring a lot of points. So hats off to Mason. Luke Isaac had 21 points. Solid night from him. Really, as we kind of go back, and I'll refer back to my last column. We could kind of see now, I think the committee probably got this wrong.
Yes.
We had a couple conversations over at Liberty. I was talking to some parents, and one parent brought up a good point. Like, you either had to leave out Liberty or leave out California. One had to go. You had to throw. I mean, Doherty Valley it was pretty clear that they were the other, one of the 6 best teams. And if you're going to make an argument for California or Liberty, you got to keep one, not both. And I think we kind of see the fruits of that as Liberty obviously falling by 18 points and California losing by almost 28 points. So, it was I think the best, like we said, the best 4 teams made it. This is kind of where we're at. I'm curious, before we go, I do want to ask you about the OAI. I saw Fremont moving on in their Oakland section. I believe they beat Ames Academy. I think they will play, is it Oakland in the semi? So anything going on out there in the Oakland section you're excited about?
I mean, I think that's the one, right? Can Fremont spoil the party? Can Fremont be the first team in goodness knows how many years to stop the Oakland versus Oakland Tech showdown in the section final? It feels almost like La Liga, where it's Barcelona, Real Madrid every year, 1 and 2. Well, it looks like, to use a soccer term, can Fremont be Atletico Madrid? Can they spoil it? I mean, we've both seen them play. They are big, they are athletic, and they are, with Scott Alexander, they are very well coached. Very streaky shooting wise, but I've seen them get hot before. They scored like 26 against Oakland first quarter of their matchup, and then they went cold. Yeah. So they need to have at least 2 hot shooting quarters.
Actually, sorry about that. We have to make a correction here. They're playing Oakland Tech. So this will even be – if Oakland was going to be a tough matchup, Oakland Tech is very much going to be a tough matchup. I saw that game. They did have a lead. They were threatening. Tech really had to pull that one out. So I do think Fremont – I mean, can they do it? I would say yes. I think they have a shot. Darius Grayson, Ed Co. will have something to say about that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think it'll be a competitive game, and we'll see how that one goes. Last thing here before we go, look ahead to tomorrow. What are you looking forward to, Joseph, on any matchup, NCS, CCS? What are you looking forward to?
I'm kind of looking forward to this. Might be a little one out there, but I mean, Berkeley playing St. Joe's of Alameda. That was a whack matchup, I believe, last year. Now they've gone to the St. Joe's, go back to the Bay Counties League, which, by the way, is a very underrated league. It has some really solid talent. Athenian, Head Royce, even though, like we said last night, Head Royce kind of got messed up by the rankings.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that one. And what about you? What are you looking forward to?
Couple. I'll be at Ignacio Valley at Doherty Valley, and as we noted in our look ahead in our story that you can now check out, Ignacio Valley is not scared of Doherty. I think the exact quote from Michael Ulrich, it was, "We ain't scared of Jalen Stokes." So I'm sure that's going to be a fun one. And
should they be afraid of Jalen Stokes? Should they?
I mean, I would. I mean, if for a guy who could go off for 47, I would be super seen. I'd be up. That would keep me up all night if I'm the defensive coordinator, if you will, for Ignacio Valley. But yeah, I think that'll be a great game. I think Antonio Kellogg and Jalen Cody, all those guys, they play hard. They put buckets up, so that'll be a good one. The other one, Northgate at Amador. Can Northgate continue the run as a 14 seed? Can we see something here? I know you talked to Brian McCoy. Is that a possibility to upset Amador Valley at Amador?
You know what? After beating Campo Lindo and Moraga, I mean, anything is possible at this point. I do think Amador Valley, they're a really darn good team. They have depth. They've got two very good scorers that I know of, at least. Kruger is correct.
Yep, Kruger brothers and Jalen Smith, I believe, is their top three.
So, I mean, Northgate, what they got to do is they have to do what they kind of did against Campo, just muck up the game, slow it down, try to keep it manageable and win in the fourth quarter. By the way, shout out to Mount Eden, 13 seed. Can they keep it going?
I think they do. They got a couple guys who can put the ball in the bucket. I know that they're going to be playing. Is it San Rafael? Is it San Rafael or
yes?
San Rafael, right? So yeah, they'll have a tough game up there, but man, they could score it. They got a good thing going right now. I think that'll be a tough one. They throw a lot from what I understand, they could throw a lot at you, zone, man, press. I mean, they have the energy to do it. So really excited for that one. If we move on a little bit over to CCS real quick, Milpitas at Bellarmine. We have a bunch. Well, first we have a bunch of playing games where we're gonna see, but I'm not sure there's gonna be any upsets.
Well, the thing with the CCS is they give the top 4 seeds buys until like Tuesday, and they give the next 4 seeds buys until what, like
Monday or Saturday? Yeah, Saturday, right?
Saturday. So it's like I mean, it's hard. I don't want to talk down upon the teams that are playing tomorrow, but it's kind of hard to get excited about like a 14 against 11 matchup. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's not even. I mean, they're not even seeded. Some of these playing teams are unseeded, so that they're not even. We don't really know. But yeah, I mean, obviously the focus is going to be on a couple of these open division playing or pool play games. I'm excited to see a couple. I would like to see the Milpitas Bellarmine match, but I think that's going to be a sneaky good one. I like Milpitas and their story this year. And then on the girls' side, Midi, Valley Christian, some good Pinewood plays.
Sarah SI play in the boys jungle game.
Yeah, that will be a fun one. I think there's now, as much as we kind of I think disagree with the pool play format, it does create some fun matchups. Teams will see again. So I do, we'll see. I think it'll be interesting. Obviously, as we wrote yesterday, it's Reardon is the favorite in the boys, and May is the favorite in the girls, and that's not really going to change. Maybe Pinewood has something to say about that on the girls' side.
I will say, Pinewood is in that same bracket as Priory, and that is not going to be an easy game for Pinewood. I would not say that Pinewood is the guaranteed to make it all the way to the CCS final at Santa Clara. But I mean, I will say they are favored to get there, but it's not a foregone conclusion. Like the Midi girls, I'm sure we all can say it would be the shock of all shocks if they didn't make it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think as we look at the boys side, I mean, there is no I don't think there's any team that could really even challenge them. Oh, the bigger deal is maybe can one of these teams lose by 10? I think is the big challenge for your middies, for your Sarahs, your SIs, your Milpietuses, and well, we'll see. I
Can you
think that
keep it respectable is what you're saying. Can you keep
yeah,
it?
if anyone can make it a respectable game, man, that's an accomplishment in itself. Because I don't know if Reardon, I think we're kind of waiting on Reardon to play one of these De La Salle, Salesian or St. Joe's, and when they get to NorCal. So I think CCS is going to be kind of a breeze for those guys in purple and gold.
One thing I'll say is the way we're talking about Reardon is how I feel we talked about De La Salle football this year, where after their non-league, it was just kind of like, okay, can we get to Pittsburgh yet? Can we get to Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I guess it's the Legion their version of Pittsburgh, just like okay, or De La Salle, it's NorCal.
Yeah, I think so. I think what we're gonna try to find, they're preparing for NorCal, and I don't think it's out of the realm to say that Reardon in the CCS, we know they've won every WCal game by 35 plus points. That's WCal is the hardest league in the South Bay / Peninsula / San Francisco. So if you're doing that to the hardest league west of the East Bay, kind of hard to put that into to really give anybody else a shot. But I think that'll be the storyline going into their championship run is, who do they see in NorCal? Is it Salesian? Is it De La Salle? Is it St. Joe's? I think all very intriguing matchups on each side.
And the last thing I'll say is, I'm at Salesian for their game with Carondelet, but quite a few of the boys players were there too watching the game. And I talked to one of them, and I'll leave him nameless, but I asked him, "Oh, what do you think about playing San Ramon Valley?" And he was very complimentary. Salesian is not going to take SRV lightly. They're not overlooking them at all. They know how talented they are, and then they can put up points in a hurry. So should be a great game. And I'm guessing you said they're going to play the game at Albany?
Yeah, that game will be played at Albany High School I'm sure to accommodate traveling SRV fans as they will. The SRV themselves won't have to worry about parking because they're taking a bus. But I would say if the student section probably want to get there early, as we both know, parking could be tough up there in Albany. But yeah, no surprise there. Class act from Salesian. They've been a class act for as long as Bill Bellison has been there, and probably even further. They're not taking SRV lightly, I'm sure. And just getting off the phone with Brian Botine, their SRV is not taking Salesian lightly. So that should be a fun one. I would expect a lot of scoring. I'm going to give a score prediction. I think it's going to be somewhere 77 to 73. I'll give it to Salesian, favoring Salesian here.
You think SRV is going to score 73 points against Salesian?
I do. I think, but it's one of those rare games where Salesian is going to outscore them because I think the Elias Obania, Carlson Paralat, Alvin Love, those guys also know how to score. They're not programmed to do it the way SRV is to do it, but they know how to get a bucket when it comes to crunch time. And I think we saw that at Gridley. I'm expecting that to be the case, but SRV could score in bunches as well. So we'll see what happens.
For me, I picked SRV to win the whole thing, right? So
yeah.
I think to win that game, they're gonna need to win 55 to 51 or something like that. I don't think they're gonna score. They would score 70 on Salesian. I mean, did Reardon even score 70 on Salesian at Gridley?
I do not believe so. I believe that game was very close. Actually, I can pull up the score here real quickly. But yeah, I mean, they beat Salesian 52 to 51.
Yeah, because I think they gave up 70 something to St. Joe's, but St. Joe's has the greatest score in the history of the state. So that's what it takes to score 70 on Salesian. No offense to San Ramon Valley, but Tunde is not on that team.
Yeah, well, I think it'll be a fun matchup. Coaching matchup is great as well. I mean, Brian Botine versus Bill Mill. I don't know how can't get any better than that, right?
No,
legendary coaches who have some hardware back at home. So that one should be good. And then obviously we'll await the Dublin Dayla. I think that one might be a little bit, of a bigger, margin there. But I would not expect. I also expect fireworks at that game as well. So,
And I was gonna say, just on real quick before we go, Carondelet SRV should be a barn burner, like we started the show. And the Akalani's girls, which we've gone almost 25 minutes without mentioning them, they are the top seed in NCS. They have 5 players at all times who can score 20 points in any game. And I'll say this, Cardinal Newman, they are going to have their hands full.
Yeah, Aka quickly. Aka is very good. KK Lakanlale, a really good player for them. They have a lot of just great shooting, and then have Dulcie Vale in the middle to shore up their inside presence. So tough task for anybody this year for to go up against Akalani's, but I do have them winning the whole thing if I had to pick. So we'll see. I think the favorable matchup will be Akalani's versus either Carondelet or SRV, and I think that would be a great game.
All right. Well, that's it for tonight. Check back in tomorrow night for what should be our Friday edition of this show. There'll be a lot more games to talk about. Only 4 tonight, but many, 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 many more tomorrow. So
and we'll have Sabedra and Babcock for anybody who's missing those 2 guys. So shout out to Darren and Christian.
Shout out. All right.